Welcome to the Gold Standard Radio Show. I'm Craig Goldenfarb, your host and the founder of GOLDLAW. We've been a personal injury law firm in West Palm Beach for 25 years. This is the show where we spotlight the individuals and organizations making a real impact in our communities. Those who embody excellence, integrity, compassion, and the gold standard in everything they do. Every week we'll sit down with game changers, difference makers, and unsung heroes who are shaping the future of Palm Beach County and beyond. Whether it's through advocacy, innovation, or service, these are the people setting the bar high and showing us what it truly means to lead with purpose. So sit back, get inspired, and let's dive into the stories that define the gold standard.
I am here with one of my good friends, Dr. Christopher White. He's a chiropractor and he's with the company BackSaver. BackSaver's on Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, and Chris has been a chiropractor for about 27 years now, almost as long as I've been a lawyer. Boy, I feel old. Dr. White, we've known each other for many years, and I have had the privilege of working with you together to help so many people in my office, thousands of clients probably, and a lot of my employees, frankly, in Palm Beach County. So what stands out to you most about our connection and my relationship with you?
Well, Craig, first of all, thank you for that beautiful introduction. The great thing about our relationship is we both look at what we do very similarly. We're trying to help people. You're doing it with the legal process. I do it with the healthcare through my chiropractic and physical therapy. And we're both working towards helping people get to a good end from a bad situation.
Well, you've been helping patients here since, 1998?
1998, I started to practice.
Now, what inspired you to get into chiropractic? I mean, a lot of our listeners might not know exactly the difference between a medical doctor and a chiropractor. So what inspired you to get into chiropractic care?
Well, back in the 1980s, I was doing a lot of construction work in South Florida, which is outside, very hot and very hard work. And my older brother and younger sister were both in chiropractic school in Atlanta. And they kept telling me that they thought that would be a great thing for me to do because I love to help people, and it's just a very rewarding thing to do. So I was a little bit adamant to stick with what I wanted to do, and I went to my brother's graduation from chiropractic school in 1990. And while I was there in Atlanta at the World Congress Center, I happened to just run into the president of the college, who is this 6'4", big football player looking guy with the charisma, that's unbelievable. And he grabbed my hand and he said, "Hey, young man, you here to graduate?" I said, "No, sir, my brother is." And he said, "When do you graduate?" And I said, "Well, I build houses." He said, "Well, no, we've got to change that." And he had this talk with me that kind of changed my life. And on the ride back from Atlanta to Florida after the graduation ceremony, I gave it a lot of thought. And something in my head clicked. This is the way to go. And I had recently been engaged to a girl down here in Florida, in Jupiter, and I had a business, and I shut everything down. And by 1991, I was headed up to Atlanta to start my undergrad work.
That's a great story. So from construction work to chiropractor work, I'm sure after construction work for a while, your neck and back was hurting, so that may have played a role.
My neck and back were always hurting, and my ankles and knees and shoulders. And it takes a toll on you when you work hard outside. So I have a lot of respect for anyone that's outside doing some work, especially in South Florida in the summer.
I'm sure that passion for understanding pain and labor probably inspired you in part for what you do.
That was a big part of it. I've always been involved in sports, and I really like to deal with athletes. Athletes now, there's very high levels in competition. And there's a lot of new techniques for strengthening. There's a lot of products on the market. And I used to do a little more as far as helping people with strengthening and things like that, which I don't really do much anymore. We normally see now the injuries from football or basketball or any type of sport. It doesn't matter, but there are injuries, and if they're treated properly, normally the athlete can get a faster, better heal.
That's great. So I want to talk to you about kind of like the elephant in the living room with chiropractic care. I mean, a lot of my friends, a lot of people I actually know, and I work with a lot of chiropractors, have a lot of misconceptions about what chiropractors do. So what may be the most common myth, and how can you dispel that myth?
Well, a lot of people that I've spoken to over the years say, I've never come to see a chiropractor because I heard that once you get a chiropractic adjustment, you've got to go for the rest of your life. And then they just look at me and I say, well, do you want to be healthy? And they say, well, of course I do. I said, let's look at this as brushing your teeth. I brush my teeth probably 3 or 4, sometimes 5 times a day because I try to keep them healthy. Not everyone needs to see a chiropractor 3 or 4 times a day, but chiropractic can be used and should be used as a preventative medicine, for good health care. It's very good to use for injuries, traumas, and things like that. But when it's used just as a preventative, for example, I have several patients that come into my office once or twice a month. They do all their own stretching, strengthening. They're already proactive in their health. But they feel like, most of them say, Doc, I need a tune-up, I need a pop, I need a crack. Everyone has something they say about it. And they do wonderful with it. Chiropractic, basically, as definition, is the removing of a subluxation. A subluxation, which is a tough word for most people because it's not in common vernacular. It means that one of the bones, either in your spinal column or your body, is stuck. And basically, a chiropractor determines that location and unsticks it. And that's pretty much, in my mind, that's where we stop. I'm not going to tell you that I'm turning on your power or that I'm realigning your spine or anything. Basically, what I feel like I'm doing is unlocking that door that's stuck, and your body's power comes on through your body. And all the healing and realignment is happening through the intelligence in your body. And I'm just a facilitator. We do a lot of work in my office with massage chairs and water massage tables. We have ultrasound, acoustic shock wave. We do hands-on work. We do a lot with stretching and sometimes strengthening as well. But the main thing is the chiropractic adjustment to open up the channels, to let the brain's intelligence get to every part of the body.
So I was going to ask you, you already answered the question. So a lot of people are like scared because they hear a sound or it's about cracking backs, but chiropractic care is a lot more than that. I've been to your office myself for my various injuries, and I'm an old guy, so neck and back soreness. So it sounds like chiropractic care is so much more than just cracking your neck or cracking your back. Could you give us another couple examples?
Oh, absolutely. After you have the release, you normally get better body function. We work a lot also with posture, which is very important to keep the bones in line. Bad posture would be one thing that causes a lot of the subluxations, or the bones going out of alignment and getting stuck, which requires more treatment. I've always tried to get my patients to be more proactive in their health and start to do their own. So if you wake up in the morning and you've got a stiff neck or a stiff back, Doc, what should I do? It was Saturday morning and I knew you weren't in your office. I'd say, well, why don't you get up, either put a hot pack on your low back or take a hot shower, do some of the stretches we showed you, and then put some ice on it and relax for an hour or two and see how you feel. A lot of people ask me about medication, which I'm not trained in medication, so I don't really talk about it much because it's not an area of expertise to me. If people say, is it okay if I take a Tylenol? I said, well, you should ask your primary, but it's an over-the-counter, and if it helps you, go right ahead. I have no problem with that.
So the things you teach help people prevent daily discomfort just at home. Simple things like hot packs, cold packs, and modalities that they can do at home, which is wonderful. And you were talking about posture. So as a guy who sits at his desk all day like me, posture is a huge issue as to us leaning over computers, working at desks, looking down at their phones all day. What are some common bad habits you see, and how do you deal with them?
Well, sitting at a desk with a computer is one of the worst because so many people do it now. Most of our lives we work and live through our computers or our cell phones. With people in office buildings, if you were to walk with me in a large office building and there was 100 people sitting at cubicles on computers, I'd say probably 90% or more would be sitting with poor posture with their monitor too low. And they say, well, what do you mean my monitor's too low? And what I tell every patient, if you sit up straight with your best posture and you look straight ahead, a level line would put you at the middle of your monitor so that when you sit with your nice straight back, your head's not tilted down to look at your monitor, you look right at your monitor. Or the Versa desk, which is a desk that would raise up. So a lot of people like to stand when they work. Again, it's all positional and situational. There are some stretches you could do as you're seated. There's a lot of different programs that will show stretches for your lower extremities and your back. And you can also incorporate some muscle strengthening, which is contracting the muscle. So you can, get fit as you sit, so to speak.
That's great advice. I remember when I went to your office, you actually gave me a piece of paper with a picture that showed the optimal angle of your computer screen to your head, and it was great and very helpful. And that's something as simple as just a picture showing you the number of inches you should be back from the screen and exactly that you should be looking in the middle of the screen was particularly helpful for me. So thank you for that. That's a great practical piece of advice, is to be looking at the middle of your screen when you're sitting up straight. And for those of us who are desk jockeys like me, which are at a desk all day, that one piece of advice really helped me a lot. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back to the gold standard.
At GOLDLAW, we live by 6 core values: respect, integrity, innovation, compassion, success, and finally, the gold standard. Because good enough is never enough. These same core values are what drive the incredible leaders we feature as guests right here on the Gold Standard Radio Show. If you need a law firm that stands for excellence, fights for justice, and truly cares about you, give us a call at 561-222-2222. Because at GOLDLAW, we don't just represent cases, we represent people. So remember, choose the twos, choose GOLDLAW.
Welcome back. So let me move on to a little bit of science. So I know that some people have a story on chiropractic work that it's not really based on any science. Could you dispel that myth?
There's definitely a tremendous amount of science behind chiropractic. There are different volumes of books, reference books, that have actual clinical studies. There are many different techniques in chiropractic. So you've got there's the general chiropractic principle of removing a subluxation, and then you get into many different techniques of how they get to the point where they locate the subluxation and then remove it. I would say that all that I've researched, because there's probably 600 or 700 techniques, they all show positive results with treatment.
That's great. I'm glad to know that there's science behind it, because those of us who are skeptics, or we insist on a medical doctor, it took me a while to accept chiropractor. What's interesting is, as a personal injury attorney, we want active treatment. And if you see an orthopedic doctor, which are basically, like, to me, the surgeons are like carpenters. They fix things when they break. So I go to an orthopedic doctor, and he gives me a prescription for some muscle relaxant, gives me a prescription for some medicine, and he says, I'll see you again in a month. Well, that's not really practical. So what I've found is that if you want active treatment, you need modalities, which you need hot packs, cold packs, electrical stimulation, ultrasound. You need someone to touch you. And when I go to an orthopedic, they maybe give you a basic evaluation, but they're barely even touching you. And I know that part of what makes me feel better is physical therapy, or the use of someone's hands on my body, making sure that my muscles are being healed. So I've become a big believer in chiropractic. And what leads into that, Chris, is what makes BackSaver and Chris White, what makes you and your organization different from some of the other chiropractors?
Recently, I no longer treat health insurance patients or cash patients. I'm trying to focus strictly on traumas, which would be personal injuries, whether it's an auto accident or a slip and fall. We still like to see sports injuries with the younger ones. But I'm the only doctor in the office. I have one location that I focus on. I put all my concentration into my office. I make every decision on how everything is done. Through years of experience seeing people do it the right way and the wrong way, I think I've gotten to the point where I understand what's best for the patient and what works best for the attorney. I've aligned myself with very good other doctors, for example, pain management doctors and orthopedic surgeons that can assist me. And I'm very open to sending them out for an opinion from one of these doctors, because I don't do pain management and I don't pretend to do pain management. So when I feel that an evaluation at least is needed, I send to a good pain management doctor. Or if I feel an orthopedic evaluation is necessary, I send to an orthopedic surgeon and get their opinion. And when we work together that way, we seem to get a much better end result for the patient, which in my opinion is the bottom line.
Well, that's interesting because I'm an attorney, and one of my business models is to scale. In other words, to grow to help more people. But definitely the challenge of scaling your business is that the clients or the customers get less of you. And you have chosen the opposite route, which I really, really commend, which is that you believe that the best service can be given by you. And as a patient, I must say that that has definitely come true. So I commend you for that business model, which is that everyone who goes to Chris White gets Chris White. So that is just fantastic. So let me shift a little bit and talk a little bit about something we're all facing, which is stress. So why don't you talk to me about chiropractic care's role in managing stress?
A lot of stress will form for most people. There's 3 different kinds of stress, basically. Chemical, which the foods we eat, the air we breathe. Mental, the bills, the kids, the wife, the husband, the job. And physical, poor posture, working too hard. There's different things that cause stress. A lot of times it will manifest as spasms in your body. Your muscles will be in spasm, which causes tension. And then people are uncomfortable, so they get a little more frustrated. And these things snowball into a bigger effect. We're real big on looking at that. And I do talk to my patients a lot about their outlook on their daily life. People think that something's wrong because I'm always happy. I think every day is Friday. When it's really Friday, it's a really great day, but I think every day is Friday. It's all good. I don't watch much TV at all. I know what goes on in the world, but I keep at least 2 arms length from it. I do a lot for me. I spend a lot of time at my house doing little odds and ends that I enjoy, but I spend a lot of time with my girlfriend and our horses, which takes stress off me. I used to be a boating guy. That took a lot of stress off me. And I found things with chiropractic care and my life that work that make me much less stressful or stress at all. My goal is to eliminate it.
So what I've seen when I come into your office is that it's more of a holistic approach, and I like that because when I go to doctors typically that do take health insurance, there's such financial pressure on them to see you for 4 minutes. They don't talk to you, they don't get to know you, and they may be missing out on what's the root cause of your problem. So when I've been to Chris and when I've been to chiropractors, I do find it's almost like going to the old school primary care physician where they talk to you, they get to know you, and sometimes when they spend 10, 15, 20 minutes with you, they're finding out what's really going on for you, whether it's that's causing your neck or back pain. So as I said, I think I've become a big fan of chiropractors because in some cases they're serving as almost like what we used to call a primary care physician, and they're helping dig into all of the causes, which may include stress. So thank you for that, Chris. So what is, with that, is there like a one daily habit that you could recommend to your patients that they do in the chiropractic or other world that you think would help relieve basically what you deal with, which is spinal pain? That's your neck and your back.
Well, the therapies that we do, if you were to come into my office and sit in a massage chair with a hot pack on, and then get some ice packs with some low volt electrical stim, which kind of speeds up the blood flow and then it calms it all back down and blocks some of the inflammatory markers, you would already feel better in most cases without me even touching you. So there are some basic things that we use as a start and a finish. We put things in the middle, but these are things that people could do on their own.
So it sounds like to me it's like what the new method of self-care. You know, when I sit in a chair at your office and I have a hot pack on my neck or a cold pack on my neck, and sometimes I'll purposely put my phone away. So during that time, it's like really me time, and you have something either cool or hot on your neck. You're sitting in a very comfortable chair. You're not watching TV. You're not digitally involved. I think that's probably part of the experience. What do you think?
That's a huge part of the experience. We do have a small sign in several locations of the office asking our patients to refrain from using their cell phones, because we understand how much better it is for them to not be focused on that. And if there's someone close by to you, it may be a distraction for them. That is a big part of what we try to give people as far as our patients in our office is a quiet, healthy environment, which means that you can actually relax your body and let the modalities or the therapies we're using take more effect.
And I think that is something that definitely differentiates you from when you go to a different type of doctor. You're in the exam room, it's cold, it's sterile. You're there for 4 minutes. Well, actually, you're there for 30 minutes waiting for the doctor. The doctor comes in for 3 minutes. There's nothing relaxing about that experience. So I would say if you're looking for some area of medical care that does involve some self-care, then the chiropractic world is for you. And I can speak to that over many years. I've seen you many times. So thank you. So self-care and chiropractic, to me, actually kind of goes together. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back to the gold standard.
Every day, 1,500 children in Palm Beach County wake up in foster care through no fault of their own. They have been torn from everything they know, facing fear, uncertainty, and unimaginable hardships. Many have suffered neglect, abandonment, or abuse, and now they must navigate a complex system that often falls short of meeting their needs. But they're not alone. That's where Speak Up for Kids steps in. We provide life-changing advocacy, life skills training, and essential resources to help these children heal, grow, and thrive. From educational support to everyday necessities, we bridge the gaps so they can have a future filled with possibilities. But we cannot do it alone. These children need champions, someone to stand in their corner, fight with them, and remind them they are valued and not forgotten. Will you be that champion? Visit www.speakupforkidspbc.org today and take action. Your support, whether through donating, volunteering, or simply sharing our mission, makes all the difference. Together, we can bring hope, stability, and a future to children who need it most. Don't wait. Take action now. Visit www.speakupforkidspbc.org and be the hero they deserve.
Welcome back. I wanted to ask you about one other role that you take with me in particular, and I find that my relationship with you and the community is really different than any of the other doctors I deal with. You've been a connector for me in so many areas in the community, and it just seems like you've taken on that role, not only with other chiropractors, but with some lawyers you're friends with other people in the community. You like getting people together that will help each other. Tell us about that.
You know, it's not something that I went out intentionally to do. It's just something that I guess had formed in my personality, and it's something that I enjoy, is helping other people. And not only in their health care or bettering their performance in sports, but for a young chiropractor in the area, a lot of times people that I work with know that I'm willing to stop and talk with these people. Not that I have every answer, but I'm more than willing to speak with them, mentor them, help them with what they're doing, help them to meet some what I consider to be good people in the business, as far as attorneys and other doctors. And it's just become, after this many years, kind of a norm in our area. When people want to put together a nice meeting for, say, a new doctor or an attorney, a lot of them will call me and say, Chris, can you help us get a nice group together of quality people? And I actually enjoy doing it with getting nothing out of it, normally a free meal.
Well, one of the first memories I've had of COVID, we go back a few years, is everybody's freaking out that we needed soap, you needed hand soap, you needed masks, and all the things, and toilet paper, right? So couldn't find any toilet paper. So you and I are texting at some point, and you said, meet me in my office, get in your car, and the streets were empty, and you gave me an O2 monitor, you gave me 10 or 20 masks, which were hard to find, and you gave me 5 things of soap. And I was like, my God, that's the one guy in my life where my wife was freaking out, I was freaking out, my family's freaking out, and I have this one guy I can rely upon to get me stuff the first week of COVID in March 2020. So that's the kind of connector you are, and I just wanted to thank you for that in the community, Chris.
Well, you're very welcome. Like I said, it's a pleasure for me to do it, and I do it, just to help people.
So if a listener wants to book a consultation at BackSaver, Dr. Chris White on Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, how do they find you?
They can call the office at 561-684-8774. We're located on Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard in West Palm Beach, very close to I-95.
Well, thank you, Chris. And let's end with one fun question. And this is one, I told you at the beginning that these would all be easy. This one might be tough.
Okay.
I'm just warning you. So let's end with something fun. If BackSaver had a motto or a mantra that sums up its mission, do you have a mission statement or something that you could tell the listeners to remember BackSaver by?
Well, our mission is always to treat the patients with the utmost respect and to do the right thing for our patients and their injuries. And when patients ask me what they should expect when they come to my office, I said, you can expect to limp in and leap out.
That's great. Limp in and leap out. So I've been here today with Dr. Chris White of BackSaver, a chiropractor that I've worked with for a long time on Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard. And so this has been a wonderful show. So thanks, Chris, for being here.
Thank you, Craig, for having me. I really appreciate it. It's always great to see you, buddy.
All right, Craig Goldenfarb with the Gold Standard. Have a good time, everyone.
Hello and welcome today. I would like to introduce you to Vets Place, a dedicated veteran service organization founded by myself, Thomas Coles Reyes, located in West Palm Beach, Florida. At Vets Place, our mission is to support our veterans and their families through various essential services. We offer programs that include housing assistance, employment support, mental health counseling, and community outreach. Our goal is to help veterans transition successfully back into civilian life and ensure that they have the resources they need. You can find us at 401 North Rosemary Avenue, West Palm Beach, Florida, 33401. For any inquiries, feel free to call us at area code 561-206-0599. Our doors are open from Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., ready to assist those who have served our country. One of the highlights of Vets Place is our Veteran Peer Support Program, where veterans can connect with others who understand their experiences. We also host regular community events and workshops designed to empower veterans and foster a sense of belonging. We invite you to support our mission through volunteerism, mentorship, sponsorships, and donations. Every contribution helps us to provide vital services to our veterans. You can find us and more information at our website, www.vetsplace.org. And again, if you'd like to contact us for any information or just to connect, our number again is area code 561-206-0599. And again, our website is www.vetsplace.org. Thank you for tuning in, and remember, Vets Place is committed to serving those who have served.
That's a wrap on another episode of the Gold Standard Radio Show. A huge thank you to our guests for sharing their incredible journey and for being a true beacon of excellence in our community. At GOLDLAW, we believe that when we lift others up, we all rise together. If you know someone in our community making a difference, someone who lives and breathes the gold standard, we want to hear about them. So please reach out, connect with us on social media, and let's continue celebrating the people who are shaping a brighter, stronger future for all of us in Palm Beach County. Until next time, I'm Craig Goldenfarb. So stay inspired, stay committed, and keep raising the gold standard.